Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker is said to have many connections not just to the original trilogy, but also the prequel trilogy itself by director J.J. Abrams, that'll be used in a way in order to push many of the new characters and some of the sequel trilogy characters like Kylo Ren and Rey forward from start to finish of this movie. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So what's really great about Episode 9 is that we do know that the prequel trilogy connections are going to be used in a very important way by JJ, especially within the second and the third acts of the movie, which is really going to be used as a way to really benefit the characters of Kylo and Rey. It's going to be very interesting to see exactly how this is all going to be executed on the big screen, and how this is going to be teased for the upcoming trailer 2, which is all set and ready to debut over at San Diego Comic-Con this July. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the plans by Disney, Lucasfilm, JJ, and crew, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Anakin Skywalker and actor Hayden Christensen. Now, specifically, what's really intriguing about all of this is that it's described that one of the scenes that are planned for reshoots this July is described to involve a sequence that has to do with the character of Anakin Skywalker. It's described that the scene is planned to be shot over at Cardington in the UK, where JJ plans to bring a return of Hayden Christensen for a powerful scene. The sequence is described to take place within the netherworld of the Force that is initiated by Luke Skywalker, where Anakin, portrayed by Hayden, is planned where the Anakin apparition, like Luke, is planned to have 3 different phases of his light side Force ghost, moments in which both Rey and Kylo witness Anakin's younger self from Revenge of the Sith, to the mid-phase where they plan to use aging effects on Hayden Christensen, where the 3rd phase is described to be an old version of Anakin Skywalker that will be a mixture of CGI and makeup that is planned for Hayden. Additionally, it's said that Anakin's Force Ghost by Hayden is planned to show Rey and Kylo the origins of the galaxy alongside Luke Skywalker, and that the Wills will have a brief role in the magical scene. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, the one thing that I think is really going to change Star Wars lore that really tops to the list here is, of course, the netherworld of the Force being used in the form of a visual narrative. And what I mean by that is showing us exactly what it's going to look like on the big screen. Now, with the fact that they're trying to really insert a lot of the prequel connections to this magical scene by using Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker in 3 different phases of a Force ghost, where he's his younger self, then the middle-aged self, and then, of course, the older self. Very similar to what Luke Skywalker is said to do within the 3rd act of the film, when he actually is being used in front of both Kylo Ren and Rey. So the whole entire process of doing this is said to be a mixture of CGI, makeup, and of course aging technology that will be applied to Hayden Christensen this July during some of the reshoots for Episode 9. So, like I always say, reshoots aren't always necessarily a bad sign or bad news for a Star Wars film. At the end of the day, really, if it weren't for Rogue One, A Star Wars Stories reshoots, we wouldn't have the Darth Vader slaughter scene. So look at it like that. Now, looking at Episode 9, the fact that they are going to do something incredible by combining the netherworld of the Force, of course, with Luke and Anakin Skywalker, and throwing in Hayden Christensen in there to portray these different phases of a light side Force ghost, is most definitely a way in order to change how the fans see Force ghosts and what they are able to do. Now, this whole entire scene is said to involve both Luke and Anakin offering the origins of the galaxy and the Force to both Kylo Ren and Rey while they are in the netherworld of the Force. Now, this is most definitely JJ's way of demonstrating exactly how powerful the Force ghost can really be by interacting with the mortal world and allowing what mortals are able to see within the netherworld of the Force itself. Now, additionally, on top of all of this, the Wills are said to have a brief moment in this specific sequence, which does in fact line directly up with what we went over about 6 months ago, about those puppets being used on set that mimicked the Wills, that were actually created by George Lucas many years ago. So the thing about this, I will say, is that yes, it is a big risk. Is it going to be good or bad for the Star Wars franchise? It's all a matter of how this is going to be done. Just knowing about all of this happening with Episode 9 and how JJ is really trying to use a lot of prequel trilogy connections is great and all, but the fact that they're combining the prequel trilogy continuity with something crazy and wild as this is a big risk indeed. Now, as far as Anakin goes and Hayden Christensen as an actor goes, that's another thing to actually look forward to, is because, well, at the end of the day, Anakin really is the true face of the Star Wars franchise, without a doubt. If you think about it, you know, Anakin really is the start of it all within the Skywalker saga. He is the one that got picked up by Qui-Gon Jinn, was trained as a Jedi under Obi-Wan Kenobi, and eventually became Darth Vader, which hence led to the whole entire conflict within the original trilogy. So Anakin being a part in Episode 9 to a certain extent is great and all by J.J. Abrams, and just shows that he really cares about the audience and the fans around the world. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.